I think I finally found the perfect chronograph for my collection, but the journey wasn't easy. I've tried a lot of chronographs over the years, and all of them have failed. So why is it that all of them have fallen short, but this new one is perfect? Hello there, my name's Kieran, welcome to Top Tier Ticket. I hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to take you through all 7 chronographs that I've had in my personal collection, giving you a mini review of each of them, what was good, what was bad, and the mistakes I made along the way. And hopefully you can avoid making the same errors as me. All of these chronographs I bought with my own money, and these are in order from my first ever chronograph to the latest edition. If at any point you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like rating, and we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you join the community. My first chronograph as a watch enthusiast. Most people go for the Seagull 1963, I went for a rotary. This was super early in my watch collecting days, before I'd really developed a taste or understanding of what I actually wanted for my collection, and some may instantly recognize this as a bit of a Brightly Navitimer copy, and it was, because although the homage is something that I'm not really interested in these days, an affordable copy to a watch that I liked was much more appealing to me back then. I was a big fan of the Navitimer from watching TGV's videos. He had a beautiful blue Navitimer on a Rio's bun strap, and it looked the absolute bee's knees. Now I couldn't afford the thousands to buy one, and I wouldn't have done even if I had the money. This was the time when $250 was an expensive watch purchase for me. I hadn't acclimatized to the harsh realities of being a watch collector just yet, so this $100 rotary did the job. Similar design, similar size, and a brand that I already knew about because it's quite popular here in the UK. I enjoyed this watch for a few weeks, but I was already on to the next watch shortly after. This watch was too big for my wrist, the mineral crystal was a bit of a worry, and I quickly knew that this wasn't the chronograph that I was going to own long term. The next chronograph was only a cheapie. I saw this on sale for a ridiculously low price, so it was win-win. Either I get a chronograph that I absolutely love for next to nothing, or I can just sell it on and get my money back. This was also my first time trying out a Timex watch. The minimalist design and dressy tones drew me into this one. I enjoyed the chocolatey dial and the rose gold accents, and it was a much better fit in terms of the size than the rotary. I enjoyed this one for a while. The Indiglo backlight was a pleasure to use, and the supplied leather strap was actually good quality. To this day, this is one of the better Timex watches that I've actually tried out. Steel case, decent design, and actually super affordable. Nothing to complain about here. This one just didn't give me that fuzzy feeling inside when I looked down at it. It was a great watch for the money, but it was just a bit boring. I wanted something a bit more exciting, a watch with a bit of history and a more unique design. So that's when the hunt started. I made it my mission to find the perfect chronograph for my collection. No more quick flings, time to fill the gap once and for all. And after a few months of research, flipping back and forth between different options, I came to the conclusion that the Yema Rallygraph was the one to buy. Now I bought it directly from Yema. I paid about £100 in import duties alone, but I finally had my chronograph, and I really did love this one. The sporty panda dial went with almost any outfit I wore. The watch had a cool history and the sizing was perfect. I absolutely loved this watch for months on end. But my eyes were drawn to the Omega Speedmaster Automatic, which I felt was very similar to the Rallygraph but offered an upgrade in the spec department. So I sold my Rallygraph with the intention of bringing in the Speedy just a few weeks later. But the Speedy never came. I ordered one, but it got cancelled by the seller, and then I got cold feet on the model. I was then left with no Rallygraph, no Speedy, and a big hole in my collection. This one really is a big regret. I wish I had my original Rallygraph to this day. Now the next chronograph is a bit of a controversial one. I picked up a moon swatch on my holiday to Vienna in Austria. They were hard to get hold of here in the UK, so I felt like I had to buy one on my holiday. Now I did absolutely love this watch for about 2 weeks. I quickly realised that I'd spent £250 on a plastic watch, which was no better quality than your average Casio. The Swatch Group had bamboozled me. I bought a watch for the Omega name and design, but it was so far from Omega quality that it was actually laughable. But don't worry, it all worked out in the end. The videos I made on the Moon Swatch are still some of the most popular on my YouTube channel. So in the end, I'm actually really glad I bought that watch. Yes, it's a crap watch for the money, but it did a lot for me. Therefore, I actually have a bit of a soft spot for the Moon Swatch now. Not because it's a great watch or anything, but because it really gave me a kickstart start with my channel. Then I sold this watch for about the same amount that I bought it for, not too long after I made my videos about it. Then a long time passed before I picked up my next chronograph. I was still licking my wounds from the Rallygraph mistake, and nothing really caught my attention in the meantime. However, a racing-inspired chronograph on Instagram grabbed my attention one day, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. The design on this watch was vintage-inspired, yet used colours that made the watch look super modern. The spec sheet here is a bit meh, but the design is what I wanted. I bought this after a few weeks of stalking it on Instagram, and I still have it right now. The finishing on this watch is fantastic, and I still super enjoy the design. It really is a watch that's full of energy and style. But the impulse purchases, they weren't quite over yet. I was on holiday in Bordeaux in the south of France just earlier this year, and I was doing the usual watch window shopping I do on every holiday. However, this time I'd had a few glasses of Bordeaux wine and I was feeling a little bit impulsive, as you do. I was in a watch shop called Horrell, and I saw the Nevada Grenchen Chrono King. By the way, definitely visit that shop if you're ever in Bordeaux. It was a great watch shop. I tried it on, I thought it looked great on my wrist, and my reasoning had gone out of the window due to the wine. So I obviously bought it and I was chuffed to bits with my new watch. But once I got home and the wine had firmly wore off, this one found itself on eBay rather quickly. But I still do enjoy the memories of picking this watch up, and the whole experience of it was obviously a lot of fun. Fast forward about 6 months and that brings us to now, my new chronograph. The want for this watch started when I went to the British Watchmakers Day in London in March. I finally got hands-on with lots of brilliant British micro brands, and one in particular, Studio Underdog, really caught my attention. Yes, I got hands-on experience with the Watermelon, and it was a great watch, but the colours were just a bit too much for me. I like my chronographs to have a serious side to them. However, the Goofy Panda model delivered exactly that. It still had the playful side with its unusual bicompax layout and textured gradient dial, but the monochrome colour scheme made the watch slightly more serious. The only problem is, getting hold of a Studio Underdog is harder than finding gold in your backyard. Studio Underdog only does small pre-order windows, and if you miss them, you have to wait a long time for the next one. So I was patiently waiting for the next pre-order window, knowing that the Goofy Panda was my next chronograph purchase. However, a friend of the channel, Maxina, had access to pre-order one from attending a local watch event where Studio Underdog was showcasing. She very sneakily gave me her access code so I could secretly order one myself, and I did. Thank you again, Maxina. So I very luckily managed to jump the queue, and I only had to wait about 4 weeks to get my Goofy Panda on wrist. So after years of hunting for the perfect chronograph, here we are. Now there's a load of reasons why this chronograph speaks to me more than the others. Firstly, it's a British brand. I've become more and more interested in supporting British watchmaking over the past few years. Yes, partly because I am very proud to be British, but also because British watch brands are releasing some seriously good watches now. I find the designs coming out of Britain to be more daring and pushing the boundaries more. And yes, I am aware that most of these watches aren't made in Britain, but neither are most of your Swiss-made watches. And the only way to grow the British watch industry is by supporting it, which is what I'll continue to do with a big smile on my face, as long as they keep making great watches. But let's not get it twisted here, the Goofy Panda is a seriously good timepiece. It uses the iconic ST1901 chronograph movement, which is an absolute pleasure to look at through the sapphire back. The case design and shape is classic chronograph, resembling vintage Hoyer and Breitling, and the finishing here is basic, but it's done to a high standard. The crystal is made to look like an old school acrylic, but it's actually a beautiful piece of highly double dome sapphire. But it's the design that really makes this watch so compelling for me. The big eye minute register on the right, the smaller running seconds with the concentric circular finishing on the left, the gradient dial with a sand textured finish, and the tiny touches of green on the chronograph hands. This watch is absolutely bursting with character and charm. I also love that the branding on this watch isn't hidden by the chronograph seconds. I always felt that that was a stupid feature that was continued just because of tradition. And the most important thing is that this watch can work with almost any outfit. Because of the classic panda dial and basic silhouette, I can wear this watch with anything, and the 20mm lug ensures that I can wear almost any strap on this watch. My favourites so far have been this beautiful vintage style suede strap and this ribbed khaki NATO, both of which were only $5 from AliExpress. You really don't need to spend a lot to get a good strap, by the way. I'll leave these links below if you want to buy them for yourself. So is this the final chronograph for my collection? Well, obviously it's impossible to say, but being honest, probably not. We all know that watch collecting is a disease and contentment doesn't last forever. But for for now, I'm over the moon with my new chronograph. The Goofy Panda has finally filled the hole that my rally graph left, and it's been putting a huge smile on my face every single time I check the time. But if you want some suggestions for what your next chronograph should be, I made a video not too long back covering the best affordable options. There's some great watches here. You might find your next chronograph, who knows. Go and check it out. I'll see you over there, guys. Bye for now.